Lee Gon is a successful, handsome, and bold heir to a cosmetics company. He is almost 30 years old and has achieved unprecedented success, increasing the capital of the family business several times over. Being strong and confident, he controls all work processes, from concluding deals to shooting commercials for their shampoo. Noticing that the actress wants too much, he takes part in the commercial himself and shocks everyone with his charisma, then fires the beauty. A little later, he has to go to a meeting with the elders, who are concerned that the man still has no heir. After announcing that his fiancée, Sarah, is returning to Korea, he promises to marry her within a year. Grandmother Wang is afraid that her grandson may not keep his word, and Assistant Tag fears that the girl may reject his boss, but Gon is 100% confident. At the same time, nearby lives Kim Mi-yeon, an ordinary, unremarkable girl. She works as a secretary at a large firm, but her colleagues do not appreciate or respect her. No one notices her hard work and diligence, but they actively take advantage of her and her kindness. Mi-yeon is unable to refuse anyone, which is why she fulfills all requests, no matter how nasty, horrible, or stupid they may seem. Jien's best friend tries to talk some sense into her and asks her to learn to say no. At one point, Mi-yeon even manages to do so, but after a few seconds, she apologizes and changes her mind, agreeing to help with everything she is asked to do. The only person who notices her besides her friend is an attractive lawyer named Min. He is attentive and courteous to Mi-yeon, which makes her instantly fall in love with her colleague. When she receives her next assignment, the girl goes to the mall to buy sweets for the company director's daughter. At the same time, Gon also happens to be there, but to buy an engagement ring for his fiancée. It would seem that these people are from completely different worlds and are not destined to meet, but chance changes everything. Mi-yeon notices a small child who is about to fall off the escalator and rushes to help. Not noticing the children with balloons, she bumps into them. Thousands of balloons fall to the ground, causing Mi-yeon to lose her balance and bump into Mr. Gon. At that moment, something terrible happens. Gon loses his wedding ring, which rolls away from him. He orders Mi-yeon to do everything she can to catch it, but the clumsy girl is unable to accomplish her task. At one point, the ring ends up among the dogs, and the man is afraid to approach them because of his childhood fear. Mi-yeon continues the chase, but the ring ends up behind a fence with a huge sleeping dog. Gon is afraid, but he holds the girl back so she can retrieve the ring when suddenly Mi-yeon hits the dog's food bowl. The angry dog wakes up and attacks them, and the couple has to run away. In an attempt to escape, Gon clutches his heart and remembers that all his male relatives died at the age of just over 30. He is afraid that he will now say goodbye to life and break the family tradition by not living to see 30. Fortunately, the dog turns out to be harmless and very friendly, with a sweet tooth. In addition, Mi-yeon manages to grab the ring, saving the man's wedding. Upon returning to the office, Mi-yeon learns that the director is raffling off trips to Macau so that his subordinates can have a good rest. Unexpectedly, she wins a trip for two, but doesn't know who to invite. She asks her friend or mother to go with her, but they refuse. At one point, the girl even thinks about giving up the trip, but then lawyer Min shows up and invites her to a restaurant. The couple's relationship develops rapidly, and after a couple of days, Min suggests they go together. Believing that this could be the beginning of something more, Mi-yeon not only agrees, but also pays for the entire trip. At the same time, Gon is also going to Macau, as he has signed a contract with the hotel where Mi-yeon will be staying. He wants to use this place to propose to his beloved and make her his wife. Upon arriving in Macau, Gon prepares to propose while Min's lawyer goes to the casino, where he flirts with a beautiful stranger. Meanwhile, the lonely Mi-yeon goes in search of Min and stops at a park. There, she hears Mr. Gon rehearsing his wedding speech. The man is very nervous, but he utters romantic words that touch Mi-yeon's heart. At the most inopportune moment, the girl sneezes and is afraid of being seen by the man. She hides behind a nearby statue and decides to drink water from a bottle she pulled out of a pool. This idea is extremely misguided because it is not just water, but a stimulant mixture used by Mr. Gon's dismissed employees. They wanted the man to drink it and get into an awkward situation with an easily accessible girl, which would allow them to create compromising material and blackmail him into returning to work, but they accidentally lost the bottle. Now, Mi-yeon has drunk its contents, and it is unclear how this story will end. A little later, Gon goes to a massage therapist to relax and prepare for the meeting. Two dismissed employees also make their way there and pay the massage therapist to leave them alone. Taking advantage of the moment, they add the stimulant to another liquid and then give it to Mr. Gon. He recognizes the masseurs as the fired employees and chases them away, but not before drinking the water, which makes him feel unwell. Barely able to stand, Gon makes his way to his room, where he falls asleep. The dismissed employees follow him to remove his extra clothes and prepare him for a meeting with an easily accessible girl. Leaving the room, the men accidentally touch the last digit, making it seem like he is in room 2006 instead of 2009. In the evening, Mi-yeon, who lives in room 2006, returns to the hotel. Confusing the rooms, she ends up in the room where Gon lives. The door was deliberately left unlocked as a provocation, but the girl accidentally entered and knocked out a wooden support. Not noticing that there was a stranger nearby, she lay down on the bed to fall asleep as quickly as possible. Assuming that she was his fiancée, Gon hugged the girl. Too tired and aroused to open their eyes, the couple did not not see who was lying next to them, but that did not stop them from making love. In the morning, when they woke up, they found themselves in an awkward situation and realized that they had made a big mistake because they were naked. Two fired employees burst into the room, trying to take compromising photos, but they were shocked to see Mi-yeon, who was a relative of one of the men. Realizing that they were in trouble, the two fired employees fled, and Mi-yeon hid in the bathroom. The girl did not understand how she ended up there and was sure that it was her room until she saw someone else's belongings. It became clear that she had mixed up the doors and entered someone else's room, but she still could not explain it. Believing that he had been set up and used, Gon grabs the girl by the arm and refuses to let her go, calling security. After reviewing the video camera footage, the guards begin chasing the two fired employees. As a result of the scuffle, they lose the compromising recording, but manage to escape. After a brief investigation, everyone learns that Mi-yeon did indeed accidentally end up in the man's room. Someone replaced the 9 with a 6 and the door was open, which allowed the girl to end up next to a stranger. It seems that the conflict has been resolved and Gon can meet his bride, but at that moment, he receives a call from his manager, Tag. With tears in his eyes, the assistant informs him that Sarah has arrived, but immediately left for New York. A little later, she sent her fiancé a message apologizing for her actions. In the US, she was a ballerina and was rejected. Sarah thought her career was over, but she received a call asking her to return. She wants to perform on the big stage, after which she will return to him in Korea and they can get married. But for that, she needs to wait a few months. Despite all the bride's words, Gon feels betrayed and abandoned. Meanwhile, Mi-yeon returns to her room and sees that lawyer Min is giving a massage to the mistress he met at the casino last night. She doesn't understand what is happening and why he did this to her. Then lawyer Min demonstratively humiliates the girl, calling her useless and uninteresting. He considers himself an aristocrat and laughs at her feelings, believing that a respected person like a lawyer would never be in a relationship with such a modest girl. Barely holding back her tears, Mi-yeon kicks out the mistress and takes back her earrings, then starts crying. After hearing the whole conversation, Mr. Gon returns the shoes she left in his room and stands up for her. After learning the girl's whole story and how people treat her, Gon decides to change everything. He puts Mi-yeon in the hands of stylists, who transform her into a real queen, stunning in her beauty. The man demands that she be confident, calm, and level-headed. Trying to teach her how to be a real aristocrat, he invites Mi-yeon to a casino. Seeing Min and his mistress at one of the tables, Gon offers to play poker. After making several bets in a row, he loses, which greatly pleases the lawyer. He feels superior and continues to insult not only Mi-yoon, but also Mr. Gon. Soon, the smile on his face disappears because Mr. Gon goes all in and wins all the money at the table, believing that Mi-yoon brought him luck. Min is a beggar, but the rich man is willing to give him some money if he kneels before Mi-yoon. The lawyer humiliates himself and asks for forgiveness, which upsets the girl because she understands how pathetic and insignificant this man is. A little later, Mi-yoon and Gon meet again. The girl has given up her expensive dress, jewelry, and hairstyle, returning to her former appearance. She thanks the man for his help, but decides to remain the same simple and good-natured girl. After giving her some useful advice, Gon gives Mi-yeon a winning gambling chip, believing that it will bring her luck. At the same time, the girl gives him a lollipop that will help him find love. What began as an unfortunate coincidence turned them into sympathetic friends. Despite their common interests, they are from different worlds, so Gon and Mi-yeon say goodbye, assuming they will never meet again. Accepting this fact with sadness, the owner of the cosmetics company leaves. A month later, Mi-yeon becomes kind and responsive again, which causes everyone to take advantage of her services and continue to ask for whatever they want. It seems that her life has returned to normal, but only until she notices Mr. Gon. He has come to the law firm where she works to resolve a business issue. Not long ago, he bought a soap factory on Yawol Island and fired all the employees, which led to strikes there. He demands that the problem be solved so that his people can set foot on the island and demolish the old building. At the same time, strikes continue on the island, in which Mi-yeon's mother is participating. The head of the law firm offers the services of the best lawyer, but that person turns out to be Min. Upon meeting him, Gon laughs and realizes that Mi-yeon works at this company. He desperately seeks to meet the girl but cannot find her. Meanwhile, his family gathers to make an important decision. Since Sarah has left for the United States and Gon cannot give them an heir, they decide to remember their illegitimate son named Lien. If Gon does not have children within a year and Lien does, then he will become the new president of the company, despite being a stupid and uneducated man. A little later, Mi-yeon realizes that she has not had her period in a long time. After reading articles on the internet and taking an online test, she realizes that she is pregnant. Soon, Min finds her and asks her to talk to Mr. Gon. The girl refuses to help because she does not communicate with the man. Angered, Min's lawyer insults her, but at that moment, Mr. Gon appears in the room. He defends the girl's honor and says that he is in love with her, after which he orders the head of the law firm to fire Min's lawyer. A little later, Gon invites the girl to a cafe, and she thinks about telling him about her pregnancy, but she is too afraid of ruining his life, knowing that the man already has a girlfriend. A little later, she goes to church to confess about this. Instead of a priest, she is met by Daniel, a guy who returned to Korea only to find his sister from whom he was separated as a child. He advises her to be honest and tell the father of her unborn child everything, but the girl is still afraid to take this step. Instead of confessing, she goes to Yawol Island to talk to her mother. At first, she planned to tell her everything, but then she got scared of the scandal and decided to hide the truth. At the same time, she takes a pregnancy test and sees 2 stripes, realizing that this is reality. A little later, Mr. Gon receives a video recording. As it turns out, the dismissed employees threw away the camera but kept the memory card with the incriminating recording. They hid the girl's face so that no one would recognize Mi-yeon, but they blackmailed the businessman, promising to tell his fiancée about his infidelity. Gon turns to the law firm again, but the only thing they offer him is to go to Yawol Island to find a compromise and resolve the issues without conflict with the locals. As soon as Gon leaves the office, Lien sneaks in to copy the video and use it to destroy her stepbrother's authority. Meanwhile, Sarah calls Gon to try to talk to him, but he ignores his fiancée. He has not forgiven her for running away and does not want to communicate, doubting his feelings. Spending time with her family, Mi-yeon is afraid to tell the truth and tries to learn more about her sister's pregnancy. In the evening, she stays overnight with her mother, but still cannot bring herself to have a sincere conversation. After talking with her sister, Mi-yeon learns that tests can be inaccurate and should be taken in the morning. After listening to him, she takes another pregnancy test in the morning and sees a positive result. Her mother walks in at the wrong moment and learns the truth, which makes her angry with her daughter and causes her to raise her hand against her. The situation is exacerbated when the girl announces that she became pregnant after a one-night stand with a stranger, so she is destined to be a single mother. A dismissed employee overhears the conversation and realizes that the child's father is Mr. Gon. At the same time, Gon arrives on Yawol Island and meets with the soap factory workers. After lengthy negotiations, he manages to gain their trust and secure a promotion in a future deal. It seems that success awaits him, and the locals offer to take him to a restaurant to try their favorite dish. Upon arriving at the restaurant, Gon learns that it is owned by Mi-yeon's mother, who finds herself in a difficult situation. Upon seeing Gon, a fired employee claims that he is the child's father, causing the woman to attack him with her fists. She is ready to beat the man, but he is unaware of the pregnancy. When Mi-yeon finally decides to tell him the truth, Mr. Gon faints from shock and surprise. Meanwhile, Daniel arrives at Mrs. Wang's house. They are friends and get along well, which annoys Lien and his mother. Deciding to ruin Gon's image, they show a video recording in which the businessman is seen cheating on his fiancée with an unknown girl. Noticing the recording, Daniel recognizes the stranger as the one who decided to confess in church. The grandmother is shocked and very angry with her grandson. She wants to call him and make a scene, but Gon calls first. At the request of his mother, Mi-yeon, he tells his grandmother that the girl is pregnant and expecting his child. Despite the spontaneous relationship and its consequences, Mrs. Wang is sincerely happy, as her grandson will give her a great-grandson. Moreover, he was able to continue the family line, which means he will remain president of the company. Sincerely happy with this news, the grandmother promises to arrive on the island the next morning. The compromising material no longer makes sense because everyone knows everything, but no one is afraid of this reality. At night, Mi-yeon's mother locks her daughter and Gon in the barn so that they sleep in the same room. The couple tries to resist this, but to no avail. Not wanting to remain locked up, Gon continues to look for a way out of the barn through a window or a spare door, but he is unsuccessful. Resigned to their fate, the couple decides to spend the night there. After eating a little, the man finds notes with the girl's childhood wishes. After reading them, he realizes that Mi-yeon has always been a very kind person, but deeply unhappy because her father died when she was a child. After talking about the future, Mi-yeon comes to the conclusion that it is better to terminate the pregnancy, because Gon has a fiancée and the child will be a burden. The man agrees but offers to go to the hospital with her so that he can support her in this difficult moment. The next morning, Gon wakes up and sees that Mi-yeon has disappeared, leaving a farewell note. The girl has decided to terminate the pregnancy today, and without consulting anyone, has left for the city on the first ferry. It is not easy to leave this island, and Gon is in a panic because he has to stop her. After telling her mother and sisters everything, they look for a way to leave the island as soon as possible. At the same time, Mi-yeon arrives at the hospital, where she accidentally runs into Daniel. He advises her to keep the baby, but when he realizes that the girl cannot be persuaded otherwise, he supports her, continuing to pretend to be a priest. Upon arriving in the city, Gon, the laid-off factory workers, and Mi-yeon's relatives split up to check all the hospitals. Gon is the first to find the girl in the gynecologist's office and notices that she is undergoing a consultation and ultrasound. The doctor shows the baby on the screen and turns on its heartbeat. Despite the touching moment, Mi-yeon and Gon sign an agreement for a premature termination of pregnancy, considering it the right thing to do. Mi-yeon goes to the operating room, and Gon looks at the photo with the baby. At some point, he realizes that this is a terrible mistake and heroically rushes to the ward. Overcoming hundreds of obstacles along the way, he stops the operation and saves the girl, forbidding the termination of the pregnancy. When the couple leaves the hospital, they are met by Mi-yeon's mother and Gon's grandmother. They beat up the businessman until he calms them down and declares that the baby is alive and well. Trying to figure out what to do next, relatives and company employees agree that the couple needs to get married. Mion is unsure while Gon is categorically against it, as he still loves Seo Ra and is not ready to marry the first woman he meets, even if she is pregnant with his child. Taking a moment to think, Gon weighs all the pros and cons to figure out what the wisest decision would be. A little later, he invites the girl to talk, where he declares that he is ready to marry her so that the child will have a complete family. He does not promise to love her, but now his relationship with Sarah is in the past, and she has a chance that sooner or later Gon will be able to look at Miyun in a completely different way. A couple of days later, the relatives arrange a wedding. Before this important step in his life, Gon calls Sarah to tell her everything. She doesn't let him say a word, just saying that she loves him and will be back soon. She's performing on a big stage, but in a few weeks she'll be back with him. Nervous, Gon doesn't tell her that he's getting married in a few minutes. Keeping their promise to each other, Gon and Mion become husband and wife. Mion gives him her late father's ring, and Gon uses the very ring that Sarah bought on the day they first met. The next morning, Gon returns to Seoul, asking Mion to come in a couple of days. His mother promises to break his arm if he hurts her daughter, and Grandma Wong promises to do everything she can to make Mion happy when she comes to their home. As a farewell, the laid-off factory workers who have been reinstated give Gon a mysterious gift, saying that he is the one who created their family. At the same time, it becomes known that the name of the sister Daniel is looking for is Mion. He does not know who his sister is and finds all the girls with that name, but he does not even suspect that Gon's wife may be that very sister. In the evening, Gon and Manager Tag get very drunk. Gon realizes that he acted too hastily and even begins to regret his decision. When he finds out that his subordinate's gift contains a stimulant, he becomes angry. Now it becomes clear that he and Mion made love not because of feelings or passion, but because someone slipped a drug into their water that altered their perception of reality. A few days later, Mion arrives at Gon's house, meets his grandmother and other relatives, and takes over her husband's room. Meanwhile, Gon forgets what sleep is and gradually goes mad. Talking to a psychotherapist, he realizes that he hates Mion and her child because he believes they have deceived him. In the evening, he argues with the girl and avoids her, forbidding them to sleep in the same bed. At night, Mion goes to the kitchen to eat and is ashamed of her appetite. Hiding under the table, she doesn't want Gon to see her, but it all ends in fear and another scandal. The next morning, Gon begins to make terrible decisions. He orders the sale of the soap factory on the island where Mion's mother lives, then arranges with the owner of a law firm to have her fired. The boss also leaves her a letter but does not tell her what it says. In the evening, Mion accidentally finds a secret room and sees a photo of Seo there. She realizes that Gon is watching videos of his beloved girlfriend and still wants to be with her. This upsets the girl, but things get worse when Gon notices her in his room. He reminds her that their marriage is fake and that not only does he not love her, but he will never be with her. Gon demands that Mion open and read a letter, which makes her cry. It turns out that the letter contains a divorce agreement, according to which they will divorce as soon as the child is born. Mion agrees to sign the document, but warns him that it is her child and she is ready to raise it alone.